It's easy to think that we long for intimacy and that we long to be fully alive, to realize that we're not this separate entity living shielded off from the rest of the universe. In fact, the opposite. We are the universe in manifested form. There is no separation. Separation is an illusion. It's practical, but it's not ultimately true. For me, feeling that was, in some sense, deeply terrifying. Because the feeling that it produces is so mind-blowingly intimate. I remember it vividly, specifically, because I was on a retreat and it felt like all of my defenses melted, and it stayed that way. I was in a very supportive environment with people who were in similar states of presence, so the environment kept inviting this intimacy, this of taking down my imagined walls. But after a few days, it became almost this terror in my system of like, no, this is too intimate, I cannot. This is terrifying. I am not protected. Even though it's like this dissonance. So part of me was living in unity, in a sense. Like, there was no separation between me and the world around. All separation was just practical, not ultimately true. But another part of me was still afraid of intimacy. So it's really like this a story of the moth and the flame. So the moth is longing so much for the light and the flame that he wants to come closer. But when it actually touches the flame, when it gets to what it's really longing for, it gets terrified. Because ultimately that means death to the flame. And in this, on a personal level, that basically means that the moth is the illusion of the separate self. The me of feeling like I am other now in the world I'm walking around in. And when that disappears, even for a brief moment, it's also terrifying. At least in this transition period, when there still is some remnants of being a separate person, of having to protect yourself from the world, of making sure that you that you like draw an imaginary boundary between yourself and your impressions of the world. And that can be done in very concrete ways, like the bird song, for instance. Not sure if it's picked up by the mic, but I would place the bird far over there, but the actual experience of the sound isn't happening over there. It's happening within me. And you can test this for yourself. If you close your eyes and only focus on your experience of sounds, you notice that it appears within you. It is not happening out there. That is just a practical way of relating to the sound so that we can move in this oneness. But it is experienced deeply intimate. The bird is not happening outside of me. It is experienced within me, intimately, terrifying for some parts of me. And I think for me personally, that's been one of the reasons why I had this, I lost it sensation. Like, I'm not, or part of me is not really ready to be so intimate with everything. So he keeps putting up facades and then going, darn, I lost it. But I don't think that's what happened. I didn't lose it. I just got terrified of completely surrendering into what I truly long for. I was afraid of the intimacy, or I still am. This still happens to me. I don't live in unity all the time. No. I keep going back and forth. But the more honest I can be with myself, the more I can see how these mechanisms occur. What is actually happening? What is causing me to pull back right now? What's the fear about? And for me, that's when the spiritual path becomes really interesting. And constant exploration of getting to know this persona called Josephine, which is my name, by the way. I am currently out walking on one of the southern points in Sweden on this beautiful spring day. And if you're new to my channel, then warmly welcome. You can stay as long as you like, explore whatever you want. There is no persuading you or telling you what's right or wrong. This is just a sharing of how I see the world, and then an invitation for you to share your perspective. And if you're a regular viewer, then I am happy to share this beach day with you. Yes. And if you enjoy this content, then don't forget to subscribe. And liking the video is always highly appreciated. It makes me feel like my sharing lands somewhere, and I love that. Interaction, connection, touching on our shared oneness. Yes. Hope to see you next time, my friend.